Have you ever wondered if the story you know about what the patriarch Enoch beheld in the 10 heavens reflects the full truth, or if we have only scratched the surface of a tale as ancient as Genesis itself? Leave your comment now and tell us if you have ever felt while reading the first pages of the Bible that there were invisible fragments, veiled whispers between the verses, waiting for the attentive reader. Today, we will dive into a mystery that defies centuries of interpretation and could forever change the way you understand the scriptures. An odyssey that not only traverses dusty pages, but penetrates the very breath of the sacred, inviting you to look upward with a heart trembling with expectation. Long before Moses ascended Sinai, Hebrew tradition speaks of another ascent, of a man who, according to Genesis 5:24, walked with God and was no more, because God took him. That man is Enoch, or Enoch, whose name in Hebrew Hanok evokes the idea of dedication and teaching. But what happened in that mysterious transfer? The Book of Enoch, preserved in Aramaic fragments and complete in Ge'ez, describes an astonishing journey through 10 heavens, each more majestic than the last, where cosmic forces intertwine like threads of light and darkness. For centuries, theologians and mystics have debated whether this text is a gateway to profound truths or a veil of poetic imagery. Today, we will try to listen to the echo of that ancient voice that still whispers between the folds of the parchment. To trace this cosmic itinerary, we must first strip ourselves of the comfort of prefabricated doctrines and return to the primordial dust where the word germinates. Genesis, with its enigmatic brevity, leaves the door ajar. The rabbis of the Talmud, fascinated by the verb walk applied to Enoch, discuss whether his disappearance was a reward, punishment, or metamorphosis. Origen of Alexandria, in his homily on Genesis, states that Enoch did not die but was translated so that men might understand that there is a life beyond the flesh. St. Augustine suspected that the account concealed the promise of a renewed humanity, free from mortal corruption. Could this passage then be a coded message anticipating the final reconciliation between heaven and earth? The journey begins in the first heaven, called in Hebrew Vilon, the curtain that folds back each morning to reveal the light. There, according to the Book of Enoch, the angelic watchers record the deeds of men, weaving scrolls of destiny with calligraphy made of stars. The notion that our actions resonate in celestial chambers is not mere poetry. The Midrash Bereshit Rabbah teaches that every act of kindness creates an angel who proclaims divine glory. Does it not make you tremble to think that what you decide today may vibrate tomorrow in a luminous archive beyond the clouds? As Enoch ascends to the second heaven, Rakia, he encounters the fallen angels, those who, according to Genesis 6 and the saga of the Nephilim, transgressed divine boundaries. Here beats an echo of caution. Spiritual rebellion does not vanish, but remains suspended like captive sparks in the cosmic twilight. Irenaeus of Lyons saw in this passage the certainty that evil has a limit set by God. Yet the chains creak, and the shadows suggest that free will always returns to offer its dangerous choice. How many times do our own impulses resemble those captive lightning bolts, waiting for the chance to escape? The third heaven, Shejakim, described as fields of celestial wheat, where the righteous souls are nourished by glory, evokes Jesus' parable of the wheat and the tares. The Kabbalah links it to the Sephirah Tiferet, beauty balanced between mercy and judgment. In a pastoral vision, Enoch beholds blazing furnaces where angels prepare manna for the righteous. That same fire forges the weapons of divine justice. Nothing remains neutral. Every spark can become the bread of life or the sword of correction. What are you forging with the inner fire that burns in your chest? When Enoch crosses the threshold of the fourth heaven, Maon, his eyes open to an endless choir that never ceases to proclaim, "Holy, holy, holy." Isaiah heard a similar song in his vision of the temple, and the church fathers interpreted that in each note vibrates the creative breath. According to the Zohar, the universe is sustained by that sacred music, and the dissonance of sin seeks to break the harmony. Ask yourself, what hidden melodies govern your days? Do you perceive within yourself the divine score, or only the dull noise of distraction? The fifth heaven, Machon, houses the Grigori who did not fall, sentinels who guard the edges of darkness. There, Enoch learns that mercy and vigilance are two sides of the same coin. Only one who sees human frailty can intercede with compassion. In the Eastern Christian tradition, this level is associated with the ministry of the saints who reign with Christ, and beholding the wounds of the world, plead for its healing. Is it not moving to imagine that your name might resonate as a supplication on celestial lips? Upon reaching the sixth heaven, Zebul, Enoch observes the angelic orders that preside over the seasons, rivers, and winds. Here, science and mystery converge. Medieval sages saw in these passages the justification for studying nature as an act of worship, for deciphering the cycles of the cosmos was akin to reading God's handwriting in the celestial vault. Thomas Aquinas, reconciling Aristotle and Revelation, stated that creation is God's first book. ID. When you contemplate the turning of the constellations, do you read only astronomical data or hear a silent psalm? It is in the seventh heaven, Araboth, where the narrative tension reaches its ignition point. Enoch is led before the throne of glory, surrounded by cherubim with fiery eyes. There he hears hidden names that link beginning and end, a golden thread tying the genesis of light to the twilight of judgment. Apocalyptic literature emphasizes that time is a circle, and that the ultimate revelation already pulses in the present moment. Could a single flash of eternity alter our understanding of the everyday, or would we continue walking as if nothing had happened? In that searing silence that follows the choir, Enoch feels the pulse of eternity pierce his bones. The vision is so intense that his tongue falters, and only a tremble on his lips utters the ineffable name. The cherubim gaze at him with a mixture of tenderness and gravity, as if awaiting his response. Will the human heart answer the call of the infinite, or will it retreat to the comfortable shadow of the known within? So far, our journey barely grazes the stardust slipping through the folds of these heavens, and yet you may already feel the vertigo of a half-open door. What will you do with this ancient key that tradition has tried to hide beneath mountains of arguments? Will you dare to turn it and cross the threshold toward a deeper understanding of life, death, and the mystery that binds them like two wings of the same bird? Enoch advances toward the eighth heaven, where light does not merely shine, it sings. In this realm, according to the Ethiopic text of Enoch, dwell the zodiacal signs and constellations that influence times and seasons. Here there are no horoscopes or divination as we know them, but a language of ordered cycles reflecting the Creator's wisdom. The eighth heaven represents the mathematics of the sky, the cosmic architecture written in symbols that modern man has only begun to decipher. In Hebrew, the word mazalot refers to these constellations, and in the deepest rabbinic thought, they are merely windows to a higher spiritual reality. As Philo of Alexandria taught, the stars are living souls, executing God's decrees with perfect precision. What if creation were not just matter spinning in the void, but a symphony orchestrated by a composer who still whispers to those with spiritual ears? The ninth heaven, on the other hand, is almost indescribable in human words. There lies the source of all celestial energy, a pure radiance where the divine will prepares to be revealed to the lower world. This level, according to certain manuscripts of the Book of the Secrets of Enoch, also known as Tsuseku Enoch or Slavonic Enoch, contains the firmament of living fire, a vibrant ocean where the highest orders of spiritual beings reside, many of them never named in the scriptures. Saint Dionysius the Areopagite, in his work on the celestial hierarchy, suggests that the beings of this level no longer have form as we know it. They are burning thoughts, pure wills in a state of constant adoration. Can you imagine an existence where your sole impulse is the total contemplation of divine glory? Does it feel unbearable or irresistible? Finally, Enoch is brought to the 10th heaven, and here the impossible happens. He stands before the presence itself, the Shekinah, which is not a being but a conscious radiance, a manifestation of the inaccessible God. It is at this moment that the narrative pauses, as if even the celestial scribes understood that human language breaks before the reality of the eternal. The text declares that Enoch saw the Most High upon a very exalted throne, and beneath him thousands upon thousands of angels who rested not for a moment. The echo of this vision resounds in Revelation 4, where John, centuries later, describes a throne surrounded by living creatures, lightning, and a sea of crystal. Is it coincidence, or did Enoch and John glimpse the same reality from opposite ends of time? But there is something even more unsettling. In the 10th heaven, Enoch does not merely behold, he receives a commission. He is transformed into Metatron, the little YHWH, as some Jewish mystical texts call him. His voice is likened to that of the eternal, and his face shines like 1,000 suns. This, of course, is controversial. Many Christians reject this idea as excessive. Yet the fact that God took Enoch without his tasting death, as stated in Hebrews 11:5, already sets him apart from all the patriarchs. What did the Creator see in him? Why was he made an eternal messenger? Could it be that God, from the beginning, wanted to show that humanity's destiny was not dust, but ascension? The symbolism here is powerful and almost unbearable. Enoch represents the man who does not settle for the earth, who fears not to look to the heavens and ask, what lies beyond? His story confronts us with spiritual mediocrity. How many times have we closed our eyes to the mystery, preferring comfortable explanations to revelations that set the soul ablaze? Enoch walks with God not because he understood everything, but because he never stopped seeking. His ascent is a veiled promise. Those who yearn for the invisible will not be left without an answer. This message is more urgent than ever. In an age where everything seems reduced to the tangible, the immediate, Enoch's story resounds like thunder among ancient mountains. He did not build an ark like Noah, part a sea like Moses, or slay giants like David. Yet he was taken alive to heaven. What does this mean? That there is an invisible holiness, a silent obedience, a walking with God that makes no noise, but transforms destinies. What if that is exactly what God expects of you? This account has been deemed heretical, apocryphal, or symbolic for centuries, but more and more scholars recognize that Enoch's wisdom cannot be ignored. References to his visions are scattered throughout the New Testament. Jude quotes him directly, Peter alludes to the chained angels, and Revelation seems a continuous echo of his heavens. What if what we call strange today is, in fact, the closest to the truth? What if all this time the scriptures have been inviting us to look higher, deeper? Enoch's journey to the 10 heavens is not just the story of a man. It is an invitation to ascend, to be silent, to contemplate, to seek without fear, and above all, to refuse a faith without heaven. What do you think of this mystery? We want to hear your reflection. Have you ever felt that there are invisible dimensions clamoring for your attention? Leave us your comment now and share this truth with someone you feel needs to awaken. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the upcoming episodes of this spiritual journey. Because there is more, much more than your eyes have seen. And what if we told you that heaven is not just a place, but an invitation, a daily call to live with eyes turned upward, with a heart inflamed by the invisible, and with feet firmly planted in the promise. What Enoch saw in the 10 heavens was not merely a vision, it was a revelation of what awaits us when we choose to walk with God in full surrender. May this story awaken in you the desire to ascend, to seek, to consecrate yourself. Because the same God who took Enoch is calling you by name today. Will you answer?